Hi, I'm Jaqueline P'ng and this is the Evening Highlights. Another twist in the political storm caused by the 1MDB fiasco. SAC Deputy Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin is publicly supporting 9 Umno branch leaders who are in hot soup for urging Prime Minister and Umno Chief Dato Sri Najib to step down. Muhyiddin told the press today that he didn't care if he was sacked from the party for showing up, as he was upholding the party's true struggles. He was himself dropped from the cabinet in July after he criticized 1MDB, Najib's brainchild. This comes just days before the upcoming Umno Annual General Assembly next week. But unlike party tradition, where Umno Deputy President opens the Wanita, Umno Youth and Putri assemblies, Muhyiddin says this won't be the case this year.
Saya nak berucap tapi saya diberitahu tak boleh berucap. Saya tak boleh diberi ucapan peluang berucap untuk Jutawan Pemuda Wanita Puteri. Saya diberitahu tak boleh terlibat dalam penggulungan. Jadi saya jadi tunggul aja, duduk di atas pentas. Orang lain boleh bercakap, timbalan presiden tak boleh bercakap.
Muhyiddin says he will still turn up for the party's AGM, although he questions the meaning of democracy in UMNO.
Saya menghormati suara akar umbi hari ini nak menunjukkan bahawa kalau di atas tak boleh bercakap, mereka akar umbi harus boleh bercakap. Kalau bawah tak boleh bercakap, atas tak boleh bercakap, apa makna demokrasi dalam UMNO pada hari ini?
Najib plays a key role at debt-laden 1MDB. The issue became murkier after the Wall Street Journal alleged that 2.6 billion ringgit had been funneled into his personal accounts from 1MDB-linked sources. The MACC subsequently confirmed the existence of the funds. It said the money came from donors. Not a good day for AirAsia's shares. Yesterday, the carrier made headlines after it was revealed that its pilot's response was a major factor in last year's plane crash. On the same day, it had 13 pilots calling in sick, causing flights to be cancelled or delayed. At the close, AirAsia was at 1 ringgit 40 cent, down 1.4%. Year to date, the counter has lost about 60% of its value. Last December, flight QZ8501 crashed into the Java Sea while it was en route to Singapore from Surabaya in Indonesia. All 162 people on board were killed. Yesterday, Indonesia's National Transportation Safety Committee published its first public report on the tragedy. It identified a system malfunction and pilots' response as major factors in the incident. Air crash investigators says the 2 pilots may not have been adequately trained to handle the aircraft under certain emergency conditions. On the same day, about a dozen pilots apparently fell ill. AirAsia founder Tan Sri Tony Fernandes blamed it on the flu epidemic. But speculation has it that it was actually a mass show of displeasure by the pilots. Fernandes denies this. He says it was just rostering issues. AirAsia is Asia's biggest budget carrier with a market cap of just below 4 billion ringgit. It posted a net loss of some 406 million ringgit in its third quarter ended September. Property developer Glomax says second quarter net profit rose 33% year-on-year. This as it registered higher revenue in the 3 months to October. Glomax earnings increased to 17.5 million ringgit. Revenue was up 70% to 146 million ringgit. For the first half of FY16, net profit rose some 13.5% to 38.6 million ringgit. Revenue increased by nearly 40%. Glomax says its higher revenue was driven by progress billings in its key ongoing projects, such as Lakeside Residence, Saujana Rawang, Glomax Central and Reflection Residence. It says Saujana KLIA also contributed to the higher income. Glomax share closed unchanged at 90.5 cents. The company is principally involved in property development, but it's also engaged in property investment, construction, property management and car park management. Its market cap stands at 656.5 billion ringgit. Forex broker Forex Time is suggesting that Bank Negara hike its interest rates. It says this would encourage investors to hold more money in the market. It would also strengthen the ringgit. Forex Time chief market analyst Jamil Ahmad is suggesting that the central bank raise its rates a bit higher than the current 3.25%. A good time to do this would be when inflation is at its peak.
Any pressure that the central bank may cut interest rates, and I do not think they're going to because inflation is just going to be too high, this could reduce a lot of sentiment towards Malaysia. But one thing that I'm looking at is that if these inflation pressures do peak and they move towards where the central bank's interest rates are right now, which is 3.25%, this may encourage the central bank to raise interest rates further. And if you have stronger interest rates at a time where lots of other central banks are cutting them, this can improve sentiment.
Bank Negara is unlikely to do this. Inflation isn't expected to rear its head following still weak energy prices, and the street says the central bank should be putting its rates on hold for the rest of 2015 at least. According to official stats, inflation eased to 2.5% year-on-year in October, despite the hike in fuel prices. On Malaysia's economic growth, Jamil says GDP is expected to trend lower.
In the emerging markets, regional growth as well, with a slowing down China, depressed commodity prices remain in a very common trend. It is very likely that GDP growth will continue to trend lower.
He warns that if economic growth comes at a low 4% range, it could further weaken investor sentiment and consequently weigh on the ringgit. Malaysia's GDP expanded at 4.7% in the third quarter. That brings the average GDP growth so far this year to 5.1%. And that wraps up the evening highlights. I'm Jaqueline P'ng. Thank you for watching.